Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Sorry for the short absence. I had to drive across this country of ours. Came all the way from Soda Springs, there on Donner Summit in California, to Southern Pines, North Carolina. And I'm home now and I'm editing up this video, the last video that I shot. And this was literally I left on Tuesday night and we shot this Monday afternoon. Myself and Tommy, the DJ. We built him up that Jeep, I think Saturday or Sunday night. Sunday night, I believe. He really dug these 24 scale cars, and he actually went out and bought himself a 10th scale, and then he ran the 24th and his 10th, and he wanted to get a 24th. So he ended up doing that, and we put a bunch of cool parts on it. As you can see from there, it's got a NSDRC servo in it. It's got Maz Designs front steering links. Maz Designs, I believe those are Dozer. I think they're Dozer beadlock rings. And they're on some Injora wheels that I had around. We had a brand new set of those comp pins in a bag still. Sold them those. Let's see, we put a full set of Maz links underneath it. Maz Designs front diff cover, generic rear diff cover. I cut the fenders for him. We took the bumpers off because I don't think the JLUs do well with bumpers. I want to try to make a tube bumper for the rear, and now that I'm home, I have the jig that I made last year, and I'll try to do something with that. But yeah, it's a super sweet day. It was a little bit windy out there, but still really warm. Beautiful, cool little section. The last video that I made that was down by the river, I made that with my buddy Ricky. I literally started on the opposite side of the creek from where we ended that day. So we're just coming up. You may have seen it a little short in this grass section here. This is a lot trickier than it looks. The camera's doing this no justice. There's a massive pinch point under the big rock that's in the middle to the center with the shadows and the little shrubbery underneath it. So, and then it's a really steep, like, rock to get up, to drag your rear up there. So the Gladiator has a pretty good chance with the long wheelbase, but then it gets sucked into that pinch point and it had a problem. So then I try to come around and get up here and I'm moving this rock. This is probably a 10 or 20 pound rock, but was in this DRC servos. You start turning things around and swinging. Moved it a little, then I decided to hook up the winch. So that was that pause in the sequence there, and we hook the winch, pull ourselves right up, and then self-unhook the winch by driving past the pick point. And then Tommy's going to give it a try, and you got to remember, got to give this some credit here. He's only got a couple days driving one of these small rigs, and it's really tight. And he actually was worried about his body at this point in time. He was a little bit worried about scratching the paint, so to speak. I had to explain the paint's on the inside, yada, yada, yada. It's really just going to scratch the plastic. It's not as bad as you think. Then I go over there and flip over like a douche. And, we kind of move around a little bit, and I keep stopping and starting because he's taking quite a while on the line, and I'm not sure if he's done or not, and so I had a poor editing system right there. Got everything reconnoitered, get her moving again, and then the blue buggy. You know what that buggy does. It gets it. So let's see what we got here. Rib bone. Oh yeah, you want to tear some tires off? Go ahead, do it. And remember, this is 2S brushed Injora Pro motor in that rig, and she's a runner. So I don't think you have to go brushless to have something really nice. It's a really nice system in that truck. That truck works really good. and it really just could use a little bit more horsepower in the long run. That's what they all need. At a certain point, you start getting up into those weights. That thing, you think you built a light rig, and it still weighs 370 grams with a battery. So I mean, the Gladiator's up in there. The Gladiator is quite a bit heavier than everything I have because it has the brass Hot Team portals on it. But it's still only 525 grams with a battery and a winch and a tow strap and 64 millimeter tires and Hot Team brass portals. So that's a heavy rig. There's ways to lighten that up. You could just straight up put lighter portals on there and probably lose 150 grams, maybe 100 grams. I'm not sure. And here we go, and there you have it, another rollover in this session. So we had the winch for a recovery out already. Now we've got the strap out for a rollover, and let's see what we can do here. Give it some gun. No, we don't have enough room to move. Couldn't pull forward. I thought I could make that gap, but it just wanted to wheelie me. So I just went a little off the side, got her pulled over, and now we'll come through. This is like a chicane of rocks right here. Steeper on the away from the camera side there that you can't really see. You can't really get a good climbing line up through there. So yeah, well, there we go. Back out of it. There we go. There you have it. And the little blue buggy that could get him turned around there after a rollover. Yeah, we're good. And coming through the weeds. Looking good there on those portals, man. They look sweet. They run really good, too. Whoever has gotten a set of those recently, let me know in the comments how much you love them. They do have a lot of, play in the lash. So Tommy getting crazy, you're going to give me a push. And bang, bang. And then I think he makes it up right there next to the grass. He does a real good job. The Gladiator. Different line. Thanks. See ya. Yeah, I got a little bit of a Samix motor in there, and it's a banger. So, I think the Gladiator needs to get the full-size Komodo and then an actual winch servo for an actual real servo. Yeah, because I'm crazy. Why not, dude? You're gonna build it. Then put four-wheel steering or dig in it. If it had a dig. That rock. There it is. Oh man, that would be fun. Someone's gonna make one in the next year or two. They're gonna make a dig for 24, and it'll be sick. I mean, it'll cost you. You'll end up with $1,000 SCX 24 by the time it's all said and done. To get the chassis to work properly for having a dig module in it and all that, but in these long chassis or these long wheelbase Gladiators would be sick. Just spin you around. It'd be too much fun. So yeah, I'd be digging it. I mean, whatever. People say, it's not a real class. There's no real class. And there really isn't. There's no, nobody has. I see it all over in the community. They say, we want to run the MCRCCA stuff. These rules and those rules, and then you ask them what they ran at their comp. Oh yeah, we did this, but we didn't do that, or we didn't count reverses at all, but we only made the gates, we made the gates 8 inches wide. So, or whatever. They changed the rules. So there is no set. There's not going to be a national, event schedule for a while. I just don't see how, there might be a local comp where they run the same rules at 6 events in a row or whatever. But it's just going to be at someone's backyard or, one local hobby shop. It doesn't seem like it's getting spread out where you could go once a month to a national qualifying event. If you place in the top X, you could go to another one and try to, get points towards a national or a regional championships. Even it doesn't, there's no regional or national championships. It doesn't seem like, or like series where you could actually, schedule it and go, oh yeah, well, I'm going to go to this event, which will qualify me to go later in the year to another event. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to go to my local shop and do the weekly event. It doesn't count towards anything. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on 11 other groups, so maybe I'm full of it. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do know that wheel was just like bent around its rim in crazy fashion, and that truck was upside down in those rocks, and I was able to ride it, and that was some fun driving. And we always love a little bit of time lapse there when you're coming across the desert lines where there is nothing to really be interested in. So, yeah, coming up, we just kind of continued our deal here. I was going to cut it right before that last time lapse, and I was thinking, well, it's pretty hard to beat up here. Some pretty good lines still, and we could probably continue on and make it all seem like we're doing something. Got some cobwebs coming up through some rocks there, I guess. Gladdy, always getting it. Look at that flex. It has a little bit of extra width and a little bit of extra shock in it, but it's limited because of the rubber bands that I run, and it just makes it so it really has a lot of downward suspension travel, not a lot of up, which makes it really, really active. A very controlled suspension release, I guess, something like an oil shock is the closest thing I have. I have an oil shock in a chassis that is not quite complete yet. I'm waiting on some parts still. So, yeah, I think that I'm driving the Jeep now, and Tommy's driving the Blue Rig. And, yeah. And then he'll drive the Gladiator through here because we were switching to keep constant movement. I really like having a second person for filming and a third truck, or you could probably get a fourth truck going if you got your timing going correctly. The trick is to always have someone moving a truck, and then it doesn't feel like there's any pause in the action, and you can get multiple trucks going in the same scene without, like here I drove that truck, tip it over. Literally been like the third time I tried to film that and tipped it over every time in the same spot. So we just came out and pushed it over with the other trucks. It was great. This was a cool line right at the end. Just this whole little section you'll see in the next shot as we get lined up here in this little gap. We're climbing up into it right there. And, I still think that those shocks need to be rubber banded on the white Jeep. That's the DJ's Jeep. So that's my opinion. I think it would. He likes it like that, so it's his. He can run it. Personally, I would put bands on it. But this section right here was really neat. There's a couple lines, like Tommy takes that outside line. The blue buggy that takes the inside there, and lots of fun articulation. Tommy was really impressed with himself on that line. It was a good one. Camera didn't do it much justice, but from above it was really good. Like where the Jeep's at now, it has a big hole to come in, climb through a rock. The little Jeep was working hard in there, and the Gladi just makes it look pretty easy. But yeah, just getting right to the end here. This is the end for Donner Summit for the season. I won't be back there until November if I get back there. And here we are, and there you have it. What a good time. Blue loving it. Looking up right at Judah there. That's Judah Peak right in front of us. And the brush is all green and beautiful, and still snow on the mountains, and amazing long season. And happy to be home though. So, there's always that. I need to go out and get my rock pile going the way I want it. You just start doing some work. It's a little hot still, so there's that. But just parking them up for the view at camp here. And, for the last run on the summit, that was a pretty fun one. Always checking out new and different lines. What a view. Mount Lincoln, Mount Judah. The 3 rigs that did it there, making it happen at the top of Donner Summit, just in front of Donner Ski Ranch there. So thanks for everything. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Get out there, build the truck. Cardboard Crawlers, out.